Coming in at number 10, Jadens' real father. Jadens' birthday may not actually be his exact birthday, and with many of you speculating in the last video, he may not actually be Will Smith's child. Okay, so hear me out. It's been said that Jaden Smith was born on July 8th, 1998, but what if I told you the actor was born in 1997? Now you're probably wondering who Jaden's father is about now, and if you haven't been able to do the math, just figure out that Tupac actually might be Jaden Smith's real father. Let me explain the math to you. So we all know Tupac passed away September 13th, 1996, and before he passed away, we know he was completely in love with Jada, and that Will was so jealous of their close bond. However, on top of Will's jealousy, something just doesn't add up when it comes to Jaden's birthday. With Jaden being born in July 8th and Tupac's passing being in September of 1996, just 10 months beforehand, it suggests that the Smith family covered up Jada's pregnancy for over a year before announcing she was pregnant, and then when the star actually finally gave birth, she kept Jaden's day a secret, so people wouldn't speculate that he was really Tupac's son. And she could keep this perfect family image, and if you don't believe me, just look at Tupac's photos and Jaden's photos, they look alike. Number 9, the bald head. So from the last video, a lot of you have been questioning to why Jada would shave her head if she didn't have alopecia. So after diving deep through all of your comments, I saw one of you mention that you knew Jada was lying for a while now, as she once told all of her followers that the reason she went bald in the first place is because her daughter asked her to go bald and she agreed. After then diving into the internet to see if the comment was true, I was shocked to find out this comment was 100% true, as Jada only started whining about her alopecia condition after the 2022 Oscars. And this is when she retracted her previous statement and tried to explain to the world that Willow made her shave her head because it was time to let go of her balding head. Coming in number 8, we have the plastic surgery. With the scars on Jada's head not being caused by alopecia, like she once told many of her fans and followers, it makes you wonder what the scar could have been caused by. Well, with many theories circulating on TikTok, among the footage made would also be a video made by a hair surgeon named Dr. Gary Linkoff, in which he discussed Jada's alopecia. With the video now receiving over 1.2 million views, in one snippet Gary would address the scar that is on top of her head that she has pointed out on social media numerous times. While Gary went on to note that there isn't a single hair loss condition that he knows that could even cause such a linear scar marking of the hair loss she has, he would go on to note that he strongly believes that Jada may have had a brow lift done, as the purpose of this traditional brow lift procedure she has had done is to remove any sagging skin from the brow by pulling back towards the top of your head. And this is where her scar is resting in the typical incision that is done by this procedure. And it isn't really far-fetched in the slightest way to believe that she did in fact have this brow lift done. And the fact that we can still see the hair particles on her head to where the scar exists shows that she might just be trying to cover up her plastic surgery procedure. Number 7, forced to marry Will. Jada Pinkett Smith once said that she cried on her horrible wedding day during an episode on her infamous Facebook Red Table Watch series. In the episode, the actress would admit that she's never really agreed to the construct of marriage and that she never wanted to be married. With Jada saying, "I didn't want to get married, and now Gammy's gonna run to Will crying about I don't want to have a wedding. Now I'm being forced to have a wedding when I really just wanted it to be the two of us on a mountain because this is serious business." It would cause Jada's mother to apologize for not respecting her wishes. Later in an episode, Jada then went on to say, "I was so upset that I had to have a wedding. I went crying down the freaking aisle. I cried the whole way." Meanwhile, Will would go on to say he wanted a family since he was at the age of 5, and he wanted to get married and have this perfect family, and he was really excited on the wedding day. However, when you're a grown adult, you have the power to make your own decisions. No one really forces you to get married. Also, if you look at photos on the couple's wedding day, not only was she glowing, but she was also seen with the biggest smile we have ever seen her have on her face. Number 6, hated her surprise party. Will and Jada's relationship has been the talk of the town since 2015, since August Alsina went public. In July of 2022, a video would surface on the internet and Jada would come under fire for her reaction to a surprise party Will threw for the star. After Will took 3 years to plan her 40th 40th birthday party on her show, Jada would mention that her 40th birthday party made her hit this midlife crisis. Will then took his time to make sure the whole day went perfect by hiring a team to orchestrate her 40th birthday party, and he even had a documentary team trace down Jada's family roots, including some very exclusive tapes that Jada's grandmother recorded for her before she passed away. Will wanted the day to be so perfect to show Jada that he had all this love for her, but to Will's surprise, Jada acted like she didn't even like the party at all, and she even went on to crush the star for it. Any girl would have swooned over the idea that their husband took this much time to plan something like this, because the sad reality is today, no one does something as sweet as this anymore, and girls have resorted into buying themselves flowers because men won't do it for us. So when Jada said she didn't like it, she was really just mad at the fact that she's never loved Will, and he knows that, but he still tries to shower her with love, so maybe she will love him back one day. Also, let's face it, if she didn't like the day, she wouldn't still be talking about it. She just wanted to embarrass her husband for treating her like a queen, because she'll never stop treating him like he's a peasant. Number 5. Helped August. With Jada admitting that she had an affair with August Alsina, she would then go on to note that August was troubled during their relationship and that she was helping him deal with a lot of things. When the actress sat down with the Post, she would say, "You can look at August and see that there's a certain amount of pain that he is feeling, and you can hear the words that he's trying to speak his truth while he's still protecting the Smith family in the process." With Jada previously saying that she was mentoring him throughout their relationship, it really has us all wondering what kind of mentoring she was giving him, as in the end of their relationship, he was left feeling like he gave his all to their relationship, and he was only left feeling devastated and hurt. It's clear Jada never helped August, and all she really wanted to do was destroy him. During their relationship, August was already dealing with abandonment issues, as he was abandoned by his parents and he was hustling just to make ends meet. He was also struggling with an autoimmune condition that caused him to be hospitalized on multiple occasions. And one time he even ended up in coma for 3 days. Jada never helped him, and she took advantage of his situation, so she never had to feel lonely, and she just used August until she could convince Will that he couldn't stay away from her. Number 4. Hates blonde women. So if you watch the Red Table Talk show, then you know Jada once admitted that she hates white women, especially if they have blonde hair. However, you know what's strange about her claim? It's that the actress also dons blonde hair from time to time. With Jada claiming that she only hates blonde white women because they bullied her in high school, it made us all look back to think about how many blonde girls we actually went to high school with. There's not that many, okay? Maybe like 3 to 4 in your whole class, let alone your whole school, depending where you are. Moving on, if blonde hair really triggered her, then why has she gone on to don the same look? Because if she truly had this trauma, when it came to blonde hair, we probably wouldn't see her donning these looks. Not to say that she hasn't been bullied, but I strongly believe that everyone has been bullied at some point in their life, but she just definitely doesn't have a bias towards blonde women, and it's clear if she does, she likes to become the people she hates. Number 3. Discipline kids. Will and Jada have been very vocal about their decision not to punish their kids, as Jada strongly believes that their kids should have to suffer their own consequences and figure out how to dig themselves out of their own holes. However, this definitely isn't the case, as they have been exposed for punishing their kids on multiple occasions. The first incident is when Will and his ex-wife had to call Jada out for punishing Will's first son, Trey, to the point Will even had to put the actress in her place and pretty much told her that she couldn't punish a kid that wasn't hers no matter how he acted. The second being when police and social services started to investigate Will and Jada after photos of Willow started to go viral online, and it was stated that Willow was looking a little malnourished. And the third incident would be the fact that Jada also forced her kids to attend the New Leadership Academy, which happens to be a school she helped open in one of her homes for the Church of Scientology. And the school strictly had the entire curriculum based off of Scientology teachings. And if you force your kids to study a cult-based curriculum, that's just another form of punishment, to the point it's not really surprising to why their children feel abandoned and had thoughts about leaving home when they were still teenagers. Number 2. Loves her family. I strongly believe that Jada has never really truly loved her family, because let's face it, the only one Jada can ever love truly is herself. Have you ever noticed when Jada's family brings up their problems, she can't just wait to bring them onto her infamous Facebook watch series, so she can discuss all the details about the problems within it, and it makes it look like she isn't the problem in many of these issues. It just seems like Jada knows her career isn't going anywhere, and in the process of her realization, she knows she has to rely on her famous family and their personal issues to make her famous, as not only has Jada exposed her family, but in the process she has lied, manipulated, and belittled her family to show that she has no shame in her actions, and if she really was a loving wife, daughter, mother, and friend, she wouldn't be hurting her loved ones and exposing them the way she is. And coming in at number 1 today, we have her relationship with Tupac. Okay, so you all know how Jada has been like preaching about her relationship with Tupac and how it's always been strictly platonic. Well, it seems like this may not be the case, as Jadens Smith has once even stated that the late rapper even once proposed to his mother in an interview, and it goes on to prove that her relationship with Pac was definitely more than just platonic. In the past, Jada has spoken about how she had a really close relationship with Tupac on numerous occasions, and that the two met when attending the Baltimore School for the Arts together in the 1980s, with Jada admitting that Jada and Pac were best friends. It would then prompt Big Boy to make a joke saying, well, they say marry your best friend, but I'm glad they didn't, a sentiment Jaden first agreed with while laughing. However, in another interview, he then would go on to whine about how he wished his dad was Tupac, but lucky for him, his dad actually might be Tupac.
Number 10. Crosswalk Karaoke. James is a multi-talented performer, priding himself on his singing abilities and acting chops. So of course it would make sense he wanted to add a bit to his series called Crosswalk the Musical. In this bit, Corden would invite his guests to learn a brief musical number for various musicals like Aladdin and Beauty and the Beast. Now what's the twist? Well, they would perform the number in the middle of rush hour traffic in Los Angeles. In between the shifting lights, they would just stand in front of stopped traffic and have dozens and dozens of people dancing and singing in the streets. Now kudos to the editing team on Late Night. The bit is usually well done and the audience is usually pretty into it. Camera footage from multiple drivers exposed that the reality was the actors were lip singing but also like yelling the lines, and they would take their sweet time getting out of the way of traffic due to the amount of film equipment as well as just the sheer volume of people on the freeway, to the point where in one instance James was actually hit by an impatient driver. They were doing La La Land at the time, but I really wish they had been doing Cats. That image would just be hilarious. Number 9. Short temper. Fans will recount nothing but good times for the Late Late Show. The host is so bubbly and happy-go-lucky. What would he even look like angry? Well, unfortunately, the staff of Balthazar, a small French restaurant in New York City, witnessed firsthand the wrath of Corden when his wife accidentally was served a salad and an egg yolk omelet with just a little bit of white accidentally mixed in. He had it sent back, shouting at the waiters, only for the dish to return fixed, but it now had a side of fries instead of salad. And for some reason he was furious about that. Like, if someone took a salad away from me and brought me a plate of french fries, I'd be stoked. Now he went on a tangent, reportedly causing the server to have some sort of panic attack and they needed to be replaced. And on top of that, the owner of the restaurant, Keith McNally, then publicly banned James from ever entering his store again, claiming he was the most abusive customer to his Balthazar servers that he has seen since the restaurant opened its doors 25 years ago. Corden later apologized for the incident and was invited back, but as a former server, I can safely say there is always going to be just a little bit of egg whites in your omelet from now on. Just a little. Number 8. Lies detected. Now, in one of the show's more popular bits, Late Late Lie Detector, Corden asks his guests to hook up to a lie detector test and answer a series of questions on air. During one segment of this bit, in which guest Kris Jenner is hooked up to the line when she is asked about her involvement in producing a certain tape, if you know, you know, she was quick to roll her eyes and shake her head and said, no, no, no. And then the expert gave a resounding, true. Case closed, right? No. Not even close. Because the next day, Kim Kardashian's ex-boyfriend Ray J blasted the show, calling the segment fake, claiming that the man giving the test, John, was underqualified. Going on to call the network sad for allowing the segment to be aired and threatening to sue Corden and the show itself. A little digging was done and it turned out that there were some truths to these claims, as John's LinkedIn profile revealed that he had attended a number of unspecified lie detector academies, which sounds made up enough, but it also says that he has a bachelor's in law, but that he didn't actually finish the course. If you need further proof that this man in question was a phony, well, Kris responded to the question, who's your favorite host? With, of course, James Corden, and the man once again gave just a monotone, true. Number 7. Asian food petition. The Late Late Show features a segment called Spill Your Guts, where guests either have to answer difficult questions or eat the disgusting foods presented to them. While the foods that are presented to the guests are meant to be off-putting and encourage them to answer the questions as an alternative, many of the foods are actually popular dishes from various Asian cultures. He presented foods like balut, century-old eggs, and chicken feet, mixed in with items like fish eggs and animal excrement. Corden would openly call the food horrific and disgusting, inciting outrage from many fans and inspiring a petition to begin on change.org. They wanted to have the segment wiped entirely from the program. And after over a month of petitioning, the Late Late hosts responded, saying that they would no longer be using any Asian foods on his show ever again. Number 6. Patrick Stewart. Sir Patrick Stewart is best known for his performance as Charles Xavier in the X-Men franchise, but he's also well known for being a sweetheart. At the Glamour Awards several years ago, he was presenting an award when a certain late show host was spotted backstage. Stewart tells the audience that Corden was backstage with his hands in his pocket, looking like he'd rather be literally anywhere else. And of course, Corden ran out on stage to defend himself, telling Stewart that he couldn't have been more wrong, which prompted Stewart to make a joke about seeing James's tummy from across the stage. This caused James to get right up in Patrick's face and demand him to explain the punchline, and of course he was immediately asked to leave the stage. Many speculate that something like this must have been planned, but so far there hasn't been any proof or evidence suggesting that this was staged. This took place well before his restaurant fiasco, so it showcased just how bad and short-tempered Corden really can be. Number 5. Demi Moore's book. Spill Your Guts makes a brief return on this list, because in 2019 Corden invited Moore on the show to promote her new memoir entitled Inside Out. During the Spill Your Guts segment, Moore asked Corden, "In the green room, you said you loved my book. What part specifically was your favorite?" Now Corden paused and fumbled, saying, I love the part about the drugs. And he then caved and admitted that he actually didn't read the book. But he did love the pictures, so that's gotta count, right? As a Late Late host, you don't have to read every single book or watch every movie or TV show that's put in front of you, but at least be upfront about it. He apologized for lying and said that he just wanted her to feel better before eating a big ol' spoon of cow blood and pork tongue jelly. Yummy. The only reason this lie was ever exposed was because of this segment, but you gotta wonder, how many other guests have been told what they've wanted to hear over the years? What else has he really not seen or read? I don't know, comment your ideas down below. Number 4. Carpool Karaoke. One of Corden's most famous late night bits, Carpool Karaoke, where James invites a celebrity guest to sit in his car, drive around the city, and sing familiar and top charting songs. Sounds wholesome, right? No, you're wrong. After a photo surfaced online in 2018, evidence showed that James was actually never driving the cars during this segment, and that they were simply carted around town on a trailer. Not only does this mean that James was lying about the bit, but anyone who got into his car was lying too. Honestly, I think he should have just been forward about this from the beginning. It actually would have added a new comedic level to the bit, knowing that famous people were being pulled around in what was essentially a $40,000 wagon. Now he claims the trailer is for safety purposes, but hey man, if you can't drive and sing at the same time, are you actually living? Number 3. Soap slander. Hollyoaks is one of British television's most popular soap operas, airing in the early evenings on Channel 4 since 1995. In the early days of his career, James actually appeared in a single episode of this show and used that footage to help launch his future career. Now, proudly placing the role on his resume for years, his lies were revealed when during an interview on The Late Late Show many years later, he took the opportunity to bash the show, saying that he'd rather die than return for another episode, and that it was absolutely awful. He claimed that the cast were filled with a quote, chicken in a basket like sense of fame, and that they would always talk about moving to LA. Like, hey man, what's your problem? People can't have dreams? Ricky Whittle, best known to American audiences for his work on The 100 and American Gods, played constable and nightclub operator Calvin Valentine on the series from 2006 to 2011, and was very quick to defend the series and dish out some verbal knowledge of his own, reminding Corden how childish it was to be slandering a series that essentially gave him a career. He then joked about not knowing who James played in James's own series Gavin and Stacey, being like, is he Gavin? Is he Stacey? Who knows? Personally, I don't. Number 2. The Prom. The Prom hit Broadway in 2018 and earned 7 Tony Award nominations. The musical is about a bunch of narcissistic New York theatrical actors who use a small town controversy, which is that the high school in the town won't allow a female student to take her girlfriend to prom, as a cause to cynically embrace and promote themselves. The film version was released in 2020 and starred a stacked cast, including Meryl Streep, Nicole Kidman, and look, it's James Corden. Corden was ecstatic about his performance and made sure to let everybody know just how proud he was. Unfortunately for him, that pride quickly turned to shame as critics began slamming his performance. You see, Corden plays Barry Glickman, possibly the most self-absorbed of the New York contingents. The character is also openly gay, while Corden is not, and his interpretation of the role was iffy. He continuously leaned into gay stereotypes, performing what many in the industry called gay face. Despite the negative receptions, Corden was nominated for a Golden Globe, but the award ultimately went to Sacha Baron Cohen for his performance in Borat 2. Very nice. Number 1, show me the money. Talk shows are simple. You get a few cameras together in a nice studio with a solid band and some furniture, and you've got a show. However, most talk shows don't include extravagant bits like street performing and singing in a trailer car thing hybrid. They may be able to put it together and make us believe that everything is good, but this stuff costs a lot of money. You gotta pay cast, crew, catering, and Corden himself reportedly made over $5 million a year on the program, which is a lot considering the show has had a regular budget of $65 million a year, but has consistently only brought back $45 million in revenue. The only way the show was ever going to be able to stay on the air was if Corden himself partook in a multi-million-dollar pay decrease and had brutal staff reductions. So instead, he opted to just cancel the show entirely, which would be one thing if it was his show, but this was the Late Late Show. It's been around since 1995, first being hosted by Tom Snyder. He's taking away something he didn't even create, and now, instead of only some people losing their jobs, everybody loses their jobs. I don't know, A for effort, I guess.
Starting off our list today at number 10, we have alopecia. Just after the 2022 Oscars, the internet couldn't stop talking about the hair loss condition Jada Pinkett Smith is suffering from. With her journey of alopecia being openly documented, TikTok and Reddit users have gone on to prove that the star is lying about her condition. With users debating over images Jada has shared of her bald scalp when she was talking about her hair loss in a video shared on TikTok by Mariah Campbell, along with the caption, "Here is my celebrity conspiracy." The content creator can be heard saying, "I think she's completely lying about having alopecia because she's a cheater and wants people to focus on other things." Mariah then went on to say alopecia is patches, smooth patched, where the hair follicles don't grow, and she then started showing images of examples where viewers can see the type of round patches she's talking about. Mariah then went on to show a picture of Jada's head, where she pointed out that there's a line on her forehead, which the actress has explained in a previous video to be the result of her condition. Mariah then pointed out this line was most likely caused by cosmetic surgery and not alopecia. Her second argument would then prove that Jada was lying when she pointed out that if Jada had alopecia, she would have circular, bald patches, but she seems to have a lot of hair growth for someone who has alopecia, meaning she forced Will to smack Chris for no reason. Number 9. Racial bias reason. As we've all come to learn from the recent videos, it's that Jada Pinkett Smith hates white women with blonde hair, meaning she hates my very existence, especially now that I'm calling out for all of her lies. While Jada went on to explain her revelation back in 2018, she would sit down to discuss why seeing blonde hair on white women just triggers her, when she admitted to her own biases by saying, "I have to admit I'm guilty to that to a certain degree because I do have my own biases, specifically to blonde women. Blonde hair on white women just triggers me. I've had to catch myself." When her mother asked her if there was a specific incident that happened with someone who had blonde hair, the actress tried to claim that throughout her childhood she was teased by white women in regards to her hair and how she looked. But we all know she's just lying about why blonde hair women trigger her, as it's clearly just a sneak diss towards Margot Robbie. Coming back to our list at number 8, we have the entanglement. Just after August Alsina came out to expose Jada for having an affair with her husband, Will Smith. Jada Pinkett Smith would soon come out to deny the singer August Alsina's claims that they were in a long-term relationship for years while she was still married to Will. After August spoke publicly about being involved with Jada Pinkett Smith, reps would soon come out with a statement calling the claims absolutely not true. Shortly later, Jada would then head over to her social media accounts to state that there was a lot of pain that needed to be discussed and that she would be taking herself to her famous Facebook watch series, The Red Table Talk. During the conversation, we would learn that the entanglement was in fact true, despite what her representatives led the public to believe in the beginning when Jada admitted to the affair, and when it finally came out, it obviously was all lies, as she also claimed Will never gave the pair his blessing. However, August Alsina has nothing to lose when it comes to his affair, so why would he lie about the issue? Number 7, the Oscar slap. With the infamous Oscar slap being what's been talked about for over a year now, makes us wonder if this incident is ever going to fade away. Probably not. With footage emerging from the Oscars online, it would show Jada Pinkett Smith had a really odd reaction to her husband Will Smith smacking Chris Rock on stage at the Oscars, which suggests that she forced her husband to make a stand for her. When Chris made a joke about Jada playing G.I. Jane because of her bald head, Chris was reportedly unaware of the actress being diagnosed with alopecia. So while we went on to laugh at Chris' joke in the beginning after he saw his wife roll his eyes, things quickly took a sharp turn for the worse. With the event being telecast live, the moment was so intense it didn't show Jada's initial reaction to the slap, or any of the interactions between her and Will beforehand. But now, videos have surfaced online, and in them, Jada can be seen laughing after Will took to the stage to slap Chris before going on to act just as confused as the rest of the audience, which proves Jada is shady and manipulative. Number 6, relationship with Tupac. For years now, Jada has been lying to the public about how serious her relationship was with Tupac. And honestly, it's gone a little too far as she keeps running her mouth with imaginary stories of the late rapper that make no sense. And it's gotten to the point she's even made her children believe that she would be happier if Tupac was still alive, as Willow even once wrote to the late rapper when she was 11 years old claiming so. With Jada and Tupac's relationship dating all the way back to the 80s when the two attended the same college, Jada has constantly stated that her relationship with Tupac has been strictly platonic, but then she tends to make her presence known whenever he starts to trend again online, which suggests that Tupac was more than just a friend. Especially since after Tupac passed away, his friends would come out to say how much Jada destroyed him when she left him for Will. And since a lot of Tupac's friends have been disgusted by the way she uses his name to draw attention to herself. 5, not being pregnant. So many actors have admitted to lying to get a gig, and Jada happens to be one of these people. As she once revealed when she was offered the role of Niobe in The Matrix Reloaded, she was pregnant and kinda lied so she could secure the job. After the actor explained why she lost out on the role of Trinity in the original film as it came down to chemistry and she just had none when it came to acting with Keanu Reeves, she went on to explain that the Matrix directors were so impressed with Pinkett Smith that they created a role for her. But the role was actually supposed to go to Aliyah in the beginning, not Jada. Though the role was later given to Jada, she would have lost out on part of it if she had been 100% truthful, as the actor was pregnant with her daughter Willow at the time filming was required. And her being due in November, there was a small problem. Her daughter was due the same month. The film was supposed to start filming, so she lied, saying her baby was coming in October, so she would be ready by the end of November. Luckily, Willow came at the end of October, or things could have been a real mess for the production team. Number 4, loving Will. Lately, it's been pretty clear that Jada Pinkett Smith has never loved Will Smith. Now, I get it. You're all probably wondering to yourselves how I may have came to this conclusion. Well, just let me explain. I came to this conclusion because she's had an entanglement, and then she went on to put all of her business out on the table while diving into everyone else's business in the process during multiple episodes on her infamous Facebook watch series, The Red Table Talk. But think about it. If Jada seriously loved Will, like truly loved him, she would have never let him run up on the stage and smack Chris. She would have never laughed about the overall situation, and honestly, Will would be happy, but instead they both look miserable with each other. So it shows that when she says she loves Will, she's truly lying to Will and herself. Number 3, being a good parent. For years, Jada has been trying to convince the public that she nailed the whole parenting thing, and that the way she approaches things as a mother is how every mother should be approaching their child. However, when Jada brought her children, Jaden and Willow, on the Red Table Talk, they would open up about how hard it was for them to have Jada and Will as parents, and how they found it difficult to grow up in a famous family. To the point her kids felt like there was seriously not enough support when it came to their artistic career careers, and they wish that their family could have noticed they were struggling and gave them support. Instead of admitting to the problem, Jada then went on to blame the whole thing on Will Smith, for noting that they had different parenting skills due to the fact that they grew up with different backgrounds. But how you grow up shouldn't affect the way you parent your children, as we all have control over our own actions, and people can't affect that. Number 2, not being a Scientologist. For years, Jada Pinkett Smith has been lying about how involved she is with Scientology, with former Scientology members confirming that not only was Jada involved in the controversial religion, they've also pointed out she was actually a recruiter for the organization. While the star has been known to visit the Scientology Center from time to time, she's even tried to claim that she was just at the church out of curiosity and wanted to learn what she wanted to learn, and she didn't think of herself as being a Scientologist. However, with the actress helping the church open the new leadership academy in her own home, it would later be revealed by teachers and parents who pulled their kids out of the school that the school's curriculum followed the teachings of Scientologists. And if the actor wasn't a Scientologist, then why did she force her husband not only to open the school with her, but allow the church to open the academy in one of their homes and put her own children in it? It adds up. Number 1, Chris Rock. Just after Chris Rock released his brutal Netflix Selective Outrage special, Jada Pinkett Smith would try to take aim at the comedian by saying he was obsessed with her. However, we all know this just isn't the truth, because who's obsessed with Jada Pinkett Smith? As she would have a close source come out to point out that she had nothing to do with the drama between Chris and her husband, and the only part she ever had in this mess was the fact that Chris heckled her. The source then went on to try to claim that Chris was so obsessed with her for almost 30 years by pointing out when he filmed the special, it was in her hometown, and then he claimed how she should have been made fun of as she started this. As he argues, she should have quit the Oscars. I mean, Chris is hurt, but I don't think he's ever been obsessed with Jada. As compared to some of the other celebrities he's heckled, he says her name way less. It just seems like Jada's trying to use anyone at this point to help her play victim, and that's exactly what she's doing in this situation. Starting off our list today in the number 10 spot, we have an A-top life. When it comes to Tom Cruise's past, it seems like it wasn't as easy as he would like us all to believe, especially when he was younger. While most 13-year-olds would find it hard to cope with all the factors that come with school, especially when it comes to fitting in, considering Tom had to attend 13 different schools when growing up, hints that he didn't really fit in with being the new kid on the block so many times, and it definitely left a mark on his character. During an interview with Robert Ebert, Tom would even confess that in his early life, it lacked stability as he had to live in various cities growing up. Tom would then explain it wouldn't be until 6th grade that he found his resilience, determination, and competitive character, and it manifested themselves after he turned his talents to floor hockey and other athletic teams. By high school, he even became a football linebacker in Hollywood, but after he was caught drinking before a game, his career in football would end. Later on in an interview, Cruise would even expose his family's financial status and how it led him to be bullied when he was younger, when he told Robert that he was mocked by other kids because of his accent, shoes, and pretty much everything about himself. And since the 4th grade, he turned to acting to help him combat with his struggles with bullying. Number 9, his height. For years, Tom Cruise has been using height illusions to trick the public into thinking that he's much taller than he actually is, with the actor standing at 5'7" when he was seen looking a little taller when alongside Kate Middleton on the red carpet in 2022, with the two nearly eye to eye on the red carpet. When you consider the fact that the Princess of Wales is 5'9" and was wearing 3-inch stiletto heels, it would have boosted her height to at least 6 feet, which is quite a height difference for the actor, and yet with his tricks he was able to look taller than Kate. So at this point you're probably wondering, how did he do it? And how he looks nearly 4 to 5 inches taller than his scene partners on set or other celebrities in film or in photos? Well, before you start questioning whether wizards are real, well, relax, they aren't, and he's simply just using styling tricks for his grand height illusion by wearing the right clothes and shoes. He's also carefully coordinated his poses with the help of stairs and boxes, and he's tricked the public into thinking that he's much taller than he actually is. But it also helps that he also wears heeled shoes when he's on the red carpet. Number 8, recruiting. While Tom Cruise has been known to credit much of his success in Hollywood to his Scientology religion, he has stood on this idea that just because he's talking about his religion doesn't mean he's actually trying to recruit other celebrities or people to join it. However, Tom has been a vocal advocate for his controversial religion for quite some time now, and some celebrities like Seth Rogen have even admitted that Tom once tried to convert convert him to the cause. Seth even once recalled in an interview with Howard Stern that during a meeting with Cruz, Tom went on to say, "If you let me just tell what it's really about, if you let me just give me like 20 minutes to really tell you what it was about, you would say, no effing way." The interview then managed to steer towards a conversation towards movies, as everyone on the set was just feeling a little bit uncomfortable with what was being said about the conversion story, and that would all soon be forgotten. Number 7. Struggles. For the longest time, Tom Cruise tried to keep his personal struggles hidden, but after he finally closed a door on his academic life in 1980, he would finally open up about his academic struggles when he told People magazine, "When I was about 7 years old, I was labeled dyslexic. I tried to concentrate on what I was reading, and I'd get to the end of the page and have very little memory of anything I read. I would go back, it'd be blank, I'd feel anxious, nervous, bored, frustrated, and dumb. I would get angry." This is why throughout school and well into his career, Tom did everything he could to harbor his struggles as a secret. As an inspiring actor, Tom's frustration would lead for his condition to reach a boiling point, as reading scripts and memorizing lines should have been like bread and butter for the actor when it came to his craft, but he found his dyslexia from mastering what he wanted to accomplish. During cold reads, Tom would then talk to the director about his character, and he would try to wing it, but he could only carry on flying by the seat of his pants for so long because, in his own words, the trap door was going to open and that would be it. But then he tried to claim in 1986 that his remedy to his dyslexia was cured because of Scientology and how they taught him to read. Number 6. Katie Holmes. While Tom tried to claim that he was totally blindsided when it came to his split with Katie Holmes, apparently that just wasn't the case, as he even pleaded with the actress to stay with him for a surprise party that he was throwing himself. With the couple fighting over her plan to leave, Katie found herself in a situation that made her plan a daring escape so she could get her daughter away from Tom and his crazy religious views, as she didn't want to see her 6-year-old at the time attending a Scientology-run school. Katie was also so scared that she even had her cell phone switched out, and she even went off the grid to the point not even her closest friends and family could get a hold of her. While Tom was aware Katie was looking into getting a new apartment, he just didn't know why she was doing it, as he didn't actually think she was going to leave him, and when she did, he thought it was just so she could feel safe from the public, but what he didn't know is that she was actually leaving him so she could divorce him and know that her daughter could be safe from his grasp. Later it would be revealed that the couple had a pretty toxic relationship, and after their divorce, he even managed to get a judge to agree that Katie couldn't publicly date anybody for 5 years, so it wouldn't embarrass him. Like, let's talk about some small D energy. Number 5. Smith family ties. With Will Smith pretty much lying low these days, after his career took a serious hit since his infamous incident at the 94th Academy Awards, and with the actor's last movie being The Emancipation, it wasn't really received well by the audience. And he has now turned to his old-time buddy Tom Cruise to help assist him in lifting his career trajectory. But remember how they both tried to claim at one point they actually weren't that close so they could hide the fact that Jada's affiliation with the church wasn't actually real? Well, Tom is doing his best to stay clear of the Smith family, to the point apparently Will has been trying to call him several times a day, but there's been no communication between the two. Considering at one point Will and Tom actually used to be best friends, it seems like Tom is trying to show that the situation has changed now. And while Tom's trying to maintain that he's keeping a safe distance from his former friend in public, we all know that something is in the works behind closed doors, and we should expect to see these two on the screen together sometime soon, as let's not forget, Scientology tends to help out their members that are struggling. So we should see the Smith family affiliation be exposed by the church and Tom very soon. Number 4. Past relationships. For some odd reason, it seems like every time Tom Cruise has gone on to split from one of his girlfriends or wives, he seems to split from them around the time they turn 33 years old, which is honestly pretty strange. And it makes you wonder why all his ex-wives, such as Katie Holmes, Nicole Kidman, and Mimi Rogers' relationships with Tom came to an end when they were all 33 years old. Like, is this just one bizarre coincidence, or just an intriguing conspiracy? And while he's gone on to claim Scientology hasn't actually been behind any of his divorce divorces, it actually makes you question if the actor's lying about that fact, as it isn't exactly a rabbit hole for any sane person that they would want to disappear into. However, it hasn't really stopped people from speculating that the number 33 also has a deep significance in Scientology. Since the age of each of Tom's ex-wives at the time of divorce can't be ignored, if you look at where the first church of Scientology was founded, it actually lies on a circle of latitude that lies 33 degrees from the Earth's equator, and it's been called the 33rd parallel. But I'll let you decide if this is just a coincidence, but seriously, just connect the dots. Something just doesn't seem right. Number 3, the Brad Pitt feud. When it comes to Tom's feud with Brad Pitt, it may seem like the two just don't like each other. But at the end of the day, Tom is just salty over the fact that one of the best actors in the world finds him pretty annoying to work with. And it's gotten to the point that even when Tom was snubbed for a Golden Globes nomination, he would even go on to blame Brad Pitt for sabotaging his chances. Tom was apparently expected to walk away with the award for Best Actor in 2022. But when he found out he didn't make the list, it totally blew a fuse in his gasket, as he was even in the process of fine-tuning his acceptance speech. And when he found out that Brad was nominated for his role in the movie Babylon, Tom would really show that he was obsessed with beating Brad out. It seems like the feud is really based on Tom's ego, as Brad can't stand that Tom wants everything to be about him, and Tom's really just upset that nothing can really be about him when Brad's still in the picture. Number 2, fake Manic episodes. So back in 2005, we all watched Tom Cruise have his way over the top Manic episode when he shocked everyone during an interview with Oprah. While the actor was talking to Oprah about his new relationship with Katie Holmes, whom he would eventually marry a year later, Tom made his excitement clear throughout the interview by getting up and doing victory poses. At one point, he even turned into a complete maniac and jumped on the couch in the middle of the conversation right next to Oprah. While the moment seemed slightly over the top at the time, it's clear Tom knew what he was doing and the audience loved the move. After viewers inspected the clip later on, they would all come to know that Tom was just faking this Manic episode so he could draw more eyes to his relationship with Katie, and his perception by the public would be changed forever. And coming in number 1 today, we have Not Scared. So we all know Tom has done some pretty insane stunts while on some pretty big movie sets. And while actors usually aren't required to do their own sets, it seems like Tom just has a thing for doing some of the world's most craziest stunts. And while he's tried to say that it doesn't scare him, back in 2015 he would admit while he does like doing his own stunts, he did fear for his life when he had to hang off a flying plane 8 times while shooting a scene for the Mission Impossible film. When the star was asked about his experience, he would say, "I was actually scared. As always, I will do everything I can to entertain an audience and put as many people into your theaters. I'm an aerobatic pilot. I've always wanted to do that. I was in a harness on my side. That was kind of loose, so you could see the vibration of my body against the plane." Tom would then go on to claim that he almost got injured when the plane landed despite the crew making efforts to clear the runway of birds and debris. At CinemaCon in Las Vegas, he would even tell the crowd that he definitely paid the price for doing his own stunts when he said, "I got hit by just a little particle. I literally thought it broke my ribs." But seriously, who does their own stunts, especially crazy stunts like that? Starting off our list today, in the number 10 spot, we have Two-Face. It seems like the reputational danger to Fox from this Dominion suit did not only come with bogus claims about the election, but there was also a border danger that loyal viewers of the network might begin to ask whether they are being conned. Perhaps the single most striking example came from Carlson. In one text revealed in the discovery process, Tucker tried to claim that he passionately hated Trump, and that the assessment was also so incongruous with Tucker on the air attitudes to the former president that it started to raise a lot of questions. Since at some moments Tucker has claimed that he is on Trump's side, and on other occasions he has admitted that he completely hates the guy. It's gotten to the point that it has people questioning whether or not he's saying what he wants to say or someone telling him what to say, because how do you claim you like someone but then a few short moments later you claim claim you hate them. It's either one or the other. You can't have both. Number 9, Immigrant comments. In December 2018, Tucker Carlson made offensive comments about immigration during the opening of the episode of Tucker Carlson's Tonight and lost show advertisers as a result. After he said, "Our leaders demand that you shut up and accept this. We have a moral obligation to admit the world's poor. They tell us, even if it makes our own country poorer and dirtier and more divided. Immigration is a form of atonement." In the wake of his very controversial remarks, more than 20 advertisers cut ties with Carlson's show in the months that followed, including IHOP, Red Lobster, and Samsung. And rather than apologizing, Tucker doubled down on his anti-immigration claims just a few days later when he said, "The left says we have a moral obligation to admit the world's poor, even if it makes our own country more like Tijuana is now," which is to say poorer or dirtier and more divided. Seriously, what kind of garbage comment is that? Number 8, too costly. Tucker Carlson has been a central figure in the defamation case that has been taken against Fox News by the Dominion voting systems. The high-profile legal battle finally settled last week after Fox agreed to pay Dominion $787.5 million, but the network did not commit to issuing an apology, instead merely saying that it was willing to acknowledge the court's ruling finding certain claims about Dominion to be false. With the case revolving around the false claims that surrounded the 2020 United States election, many claims were incorrect. Wild and suggest Dominion somehow had a hand in flipping votes from then President Trump to President Biden. But in all of the claims' efforts to prove that the network had acted with actual malice or reckless disregard for the truth, Dominion has also uncovered a private message that told a different story from the one being told on air. On one occasion, for example, Tucker told colleagues that Trump's lawyer, Sidney Powell, is lying in some of her claims. In another, Tucker sought out the firing of a Fox reporter who had fact-checked a tweet from Trump. While many media observers thought Fox would pay the settlement and continue down the same road, we would be proved wrong, as it seems like this Dominion case proves that Tucker has become a little too costly for the network. Number 7, Maren Morris comments. Following a social media feud with country singer Jason Aldeana's wife Brittany about transgender rights comments, Maren Morris would also find herself being the topic of the conversation after Brittany appeared on Tucker's show to discuss the matter. After a statement previously said by Brittany drew in a lot of backlash from Morris and others in the country music industry after she disparaged parents of transgendered youth on Instagram. Meanwhile, during Brittany's appearance on Carlson's show, he made a reference about Morris and stated that she was a lunatic in the wake of all this drama. Morris then decided to make light of the situation by taking the high road, and she actually went on to release a merch line to clap back at Tucker's insult with the t-shirt featuring her name with the words "lunatic country music person." The shirts also included the Trans Life phone number, and with every sale of the shirt, Morris was able to raise $100K, and she used it all to benefit trans rights groups. Number 6, Kanye West interview. So while the whole world was shaking their heads at the fact that Kanye chose to display a WLM shirt and other apparel during his Yeezy Season 9 presentation during Paris Fashion Week, everyone was urging the star just to stay away from social media. However, Tucker Carlson felt differently, and he decided to interview Kanye on his decision. In the interview, Kanye would defend his decision for wearing a White Lives Matter t-shirt during his presentation during Paris Fashion Week on Tucker Carlson Tonight. And if it couldn't get any worse, the interview was then aired in not just one part, but 2 parts. And in it, Kanye would say, "I do certain things from a feeling. I just channel the energy. It just feels right. It's using a gut instinct, a connection with God, and it's brilliant." But after all the hurt this movement caused, why would you think it was a good idea to bring Kanye on your show just to cause more hurt? I swear, common sense just isn't a thing anymore. Number 5, the legal suit. If there were legal reasons to why Fox has decided to distance itself from Tucker Carlson, they may not be confined to specific allegations regarding Dominion. When you get straight to the point of the case, there's this woman named Abby Grossberg, and on March 20th, she filed a legal lawsuit against Fox News, Tucker Carlson and several others at the time. Abby was the head booker on Carlson's show, and she was fired from the network. In her 79-page complaint, Abby went on to note that her experiences were yet another in long line of cases chronicling the misogynistic environment that permeates Fox News. Her suit also alleged that the atmosphere on Carlson's show subjects women based on vile stereotypes, typecasting religious minorities, and belittles their traditions, and demonstrates little to no regard for those suffering from mental illnesses. With Abby feeling like she was coerced into giving misleading testimony in the Dominion case, she also alleged that the work area for Tucker's show, but Fox still strongly denies any wrongdoing in the case. Number 4, running for president. There has been a lot of presidential buzz around Tucker Carlson, but recently it has become more muted. So back in 2020, a report which suggests that if the anchor were to get into the 2024 race, there were many in the GOP that believed that he would be an immediate frontrunner in a Republican primary, with later development showing Carlson making an appearance last year at a key meeting of social conservatives in Iowa, and it would suggest he could actually be considering running for president of the United States. However, it is still a little too early to imagine that Tucker would depart from Fox so abruptly to pursue this thought, with so few hints being dropped in advance. If this really was his intention, he will now have plenty of time on his hands, which would make a run for office more appealing, but it seems equally like he will land elsewhere, like on another media landscape. Number 3, Teen Vogue interview. After an on-air conversation between Tucker Carlson and Teen Vogue contributor Lauren Duca boiled over regarding her commentary on Trump, the political host dismissed the writer and told her to stick to her thigh-high boots. And if you don't catch the reference, he was pretty much referencing the pop culture story she also writes about for the publication. Then just before he wrapped up the interview with Lauren, he tried to throw some major shade her way by saying, "You're better than that." Laura then took to Twitter to defend herself on the public forum by writing, "Tucker Carlson is an enemy of rational discourse. In a fraught moment, his bullying tactics are profoundly damaging and achieve nothing." Number 2, Trump's comments. A court filing made public in February of 2023 revealed that Carlson went as far to call the former president Donald Trump demonic publicly. However, the network continues to offer a platform to Trump loyalists who amplified all of these false claims. The filing included text messages sent from and some of the network's hosts and executives. Among the exchanges are several that describe Trump's false election claims and those that peddled them as effing lunatics, complete BS, and mind-blowingly nuts. Tucker also could be seen in another conversation in the wake of the election and privately took aim at Trump himself, calling the then president the undisputed world champion of destroying things and worrying that he would destroy us if we play it wrong. And coming in the number 1 spot today, we have Capitol. So back on March 6, Tucker Carlson started to face some major backlash from the Republican and Democratic lawmakers alike when describing footage from the January 6th storm on the Capitol as being mostly peaceful and not chaos. The downplay comment came after he aired select snippets from 41,000 hours of security footage from the day of the riot. But I think we can all agree these riots were actually anything but peaceful, and it was actually just insane people would even think about storming Capitol in the first place. But Tucker claiming that everything people were saying about the riot being dangerous was a lie, he also took to his weeknight program to report on the issue. He would say very little about January 6th and that it was organized and it wasn't violent. And surveillance videos from inside the Capitol show mostly peaceful chaos, but I mean, have you actually seen the footage? Because that whole thing was just insane. Well, at the end of the day, I think we can all agree that Tucker Carlson should have been fired from Fox News a long time ago, and the fact that he was able to last this long was honestly surprising. However, he's gone now, so we can all celebrate. Starting off our list today at number 10, we have Barbie. Apparently for Margot Robbie, life in plastic isn't always fantastic, as the actress has revealed that her and her co-star Ryan Gosling Gosling, who plays Ken in the upcoming Barbie film. They weren't ready for the world to see them all dolled up in photos that went viral back last June. With Margot sharing on The Tonight Show that she was mortified of the photos when they were leaked to the press, she would also try to claim it was the most humiliating moment of her life. With both Margot and Ryan becoming the talk of the internet over the last year, with their photos being taken from set, featuring them wearing matching cowboy ensembles and roller skating down on Venice Beach in vibrant fluorescent outfits, with the actress trying to claim that she was hurting on the inside because hundreds of people were watching her. It would soon be known as a lie because many fans started to drop the fact that with the new Barbie movie dropping major Easter eggs that pretty much point out that the world is just an alternate dimension of the Wizard of Oz, and the fact any girl growing up's dream was pretty much to be a Barbie, it proves that if Margot really found the role that embarrassing, she probably would have just not taken on the project and passed it on to another talented actress who was willing to take the role if this was to fall into their lap. Number 9. Age. Back in 2016, after Margot became the cover story of Vogue magazine, people would then start to speculate that the Australian actress isn't exactly her age, with Margot's age soon becoming the subject of the internet for years to come. Though there are plenty of rumors of actors and actresses who lie about their age, back in 2016 people just couldn't believe that Margot was actually 25 years old, and they just didn't think it was right that a 30-year-old was trying to lie. With people drawing up receipts to prove that their theories were right, one would point out in 2008 it was listed that she was 23 years old in the first SATC movie, so her age in 2016 would make her around 30 to 31 years old. Now, it's not very shocking that the actress would lie about her age, as Hollywood has become obsessed with younger culture, to the point it's become harder for women in Hollywood to find acting work as they age out of their 20s. So Margot, much like fellow Australian actor Rebel Wilson, shaved 5 to 6 years off her age so she could stay relevant while working in the industry. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you never have to miss on what we might just cover next. Coming in at number 8, we have Will Smith's relationship. Back in 2013, Star Magazine alleged that Will Smith got caught cheating with his Focus co-star Margot Robbie. In the report, publication posted that they found proof in Will's affair after they obtained and published a photo on the cover of their magazine. In the photo, Will appeared to be shirtless and Margot could be seen lifting up her own shirt. An unnamed source would then claim that once they pulled back that curtain to take the pictures, they were running wild, laughing, hugging, and muzzling each other in the dark. With the whole thing being pretty much scandalous, Margot and Will tried to claim that they were just friends, having fun, and to point out that they even had representatives waste no time calling the entire story bogus when they went running to E! News. However, considering the fact that Jada once shortly came out to shade Margot, it would prove that maybe the scandal had some truth to it and something did happen between the pair. Number 7. CGI. Every actor always has different ways in navigating through clothingless scenes. For some actors, it's not just a big deal as long as it makes sense for their character, and for other actors, they just refuse to strip down for any role. They are given regardless of the story they are telling. With Margot falling more closely in the first camp after she filmed a full frontal scene for The Wolf of Wall Street, being clothless in scenes stopped being such a big deal for her. However, it seems like it was a big deal to her family, which is why she lied about it. With the Australian actor sitting down for an interview with Jimmy Kimmel Live, she would tell the host, "I just flat out lied to my family for a very long time. And I said, I don't care what you hear, I'm wearing clothes in the whole film and ignore what anyone else says." Eventually, Margot's lie was short-lived after learning that her family had the very much an intention to go see The Wolf of Wall Street, so she came up with another lie, and this one was the more outlandish and hilarious. As she said, "I changed that to, it's actually a body devil and they just use CGI. And they just CGI'd my head onto someone else. And my family doesn't have anything to do in the entertainment industry." And they were like, "They can do that?" And I was like, oh, technology these days. You wouldn't believe what they do in Hollywood. Number 6, Lady Gaga. When it was announced that Margot Robbie had nothing but applause for the idea that Lady Gaga would be stepping into Harley Quinn's villainous boots opposite of Joaquin Phoenix in The Joker 2, Robbie just couldn't keep her poker face when she came out to say, "It makes me so happy because I said from the very beginning, "All I want is Harley Quinn to be like Macbeth or Batman, a character that gets passed from great actor to great actor." However, even while the actor may be saying these things in public and that it was such an honor for her to build such a strong foundation for Harley to now be one of those characters other actors can have a go at playing, and that she strongly believes Gaga will do something incredible with it, while the actor does believe Gaga will do an amazing job, she is furious on the inside that her time as Harley has pretty much come to an end, and now she has to play characters like Barbie just to stay relevant. To the point, inside sources have even revealed Margot's kinda hoping Joker 2 flops so she can convince executives to allow her to have another Harley Quinn movie and maybe bring Poison Ivy into the mix. Number 5. Box of Lies. When Margot Robbie made an appearance on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, her competitive side took on Jimmy and his box of lies. However, unlike other late night games experiences, she didn't come away anywhere near victorious. However, it turns out when it comes to lies, Robbie's actually pretty terrible, especially when she tries to come up with a really convincing lie for Fallon in the game. With Margot having plenty of tics to tell that gave her away, like her accent disappearing completely, it would make us all wish that she really never has a chance to actually play poker, because if she did, she stands to lose a lot. With the pair taking turns describing a strange object that the box had in a box hidden from the participant's view, the other player had to guess whether this was a truth or a lie. With Margot trying to tell Jimmy that the plastic lobster was in fact a Jessica Rabbit doll with his head on it, right away Jimmy saw right through the actress's lie, and he continued to see it every time they played. Number 4. Crying. If you go back to September, you might recall Margot found herself being the center of discussion online after a batch of photographs of her looking distressed made rounds across social media. In the snaps, Margot could be seen dressed casually and appearing to be leaving a residence with a suitcase in hand. Though fans were immediately concerned when it appeared that the actress was crying, as she could be seen looking towards the ground, scrunching her face while trying to cover her face with her hand. To make matters even more intriguing, Page 6 and several other media outlets would then start to report that the photos had been taken while Margot was leaving the home of Cara Delevingne. With the two being known to be good friends, around the time the photos were taken, Cara had sparked major concern among her fans as she started to exhibit what many deemed to be unusual behavior in the prior months. And just days after, Margot could be seen looking teary-eyed after she supposedly visited the supermodel's home. However, then the actress said that she wasn't crying and she was actually just on the phone with her mom, who was keen to check in on both her and Cara, and that the photos weren't outside Cara's home but rather an Airbnb. However, after fans compared the photos, it would be pointed out that it was Cara's home, not an Airbnb, and on top of that, Cara's behavior only got worse from that moment, so it's clear whatever happened that day did clearly disturb Margot. Number 3. Won't date actors. Back in 2015, when Margot was on the cover of Marie Claire's March issue, in the accompany profile, she made a bold statement about dating fellow actors when she said, "I'm officially off the market. I made a conscious decision not to date actors. But not because I hate actors, that's a nasty generalization to make, and that's not the case. People take such interest in your love life when you have a profile that it puts a lot of stress on the relationship. So two people with profiles, I figured it's just double the amount of scrutiny, and I'd like to avoid it at all costs." However, just soon after she made the statement, she was soon spotted kissing a Swedish actor at the Sundance Film Festival. With neither making a comment about the incident, while the actor may have packed on the PDA, it doesn't necessarily mean that they were a couple. However, it does prove that Margot is definitely willing to give an actor a chance. But I think we all know she probably just made this statement because she really wanted Will Smith, and he just couldn't stay away from Jada. Number 2. Prince Harry. Back in 2016, Margot Robbie would admit that she had no idea she was talking to royalty when she began chatting to Prince Harry at a Christmas party in London. The Wolf of Wall Street actress then started making headlines in December 2015 after a media outlet started to suggest that she had been flirting with the British royal while attending model Suki Waterhouse's Ciroc bash. Later, Robbie would then confess that she didn't know Harry was famous, let alone a prince, when they first bumped into each other. The unlikely new pals then had so much fun at the gathering that the stars all piled into a party photo booth towards the end of the night, with the actress first claiming that she didn't know it was him for about half an hour talking to him room, the story just kept changing every time she spoke to someone new about the incident, especially when she started to claim that she didn't know he was famous, and then another time she tried to claim that she thought he was Ed Sheeran. Things just didn't really end up making sense, so it only makes sense that Margot was just keeping things coy so she could protect Harry's image. And coming in number 1 today, we have The Slap. Margot Robbie's role in the Wolf of Wall Street film made her into a household name, but in order for her to get the big initial role as Naomi, it wasn't simply a case of having an audition, as she had to do something outside the box to Leonardo DiCaprio to secure her place in the production. According to the director, in order for Margot to impress him, she actually went completely off script when he said she clinched her part in the Wolf of Wall Street during our first meeting by hauling off and giving Leonardo a thunderclap of a slap on the face. Margot would then later speak about her tactics by saying she knew that she only had a small period of time to impress one of the world's most well-known directors and actors in the world, so she had to pull out all of her big moves. She then went on to say, "In my head I was like, you have literally 30 seconds left in the room, and if you don't do something impressive, nothing will ever come out of it. It's a once in a lifetime chance, just take it." So I just started screaming at him, he started yelling back at me, and he's really scary. I can barely keep up, and he ends it by saying, "You should be happy to have a husband like me. Now get over here and kiss me." After debating if she should walk over and actually kiss him, she actually walked over and slapped him and screamed "F you." Scared of what might just happen next, to her surprise, Leo actually told her to hit him again. And since she stated that she was really proud, she made the decision to hit the star. But honestly, I think we can all agree anyone would be scared to make such a move.